All right, for this explainer, we're diving into one of the world's oldest cities, Varanasi, right on the banks of the sacred river Ganga. But we're zooming in on one specific spot, a place that's known for being one of the most intense, mysterious, and spiritually powerful places on the entire planet, Manikarnika Ghat.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Death, celebrated like a festival. That quote perfectly captures the wild paradox we're about to unpack. How can a place that is literally defined by constant death also be a place of liberation and even joy? Well, let's find out.
Okay, so first things first, we really need to get a grip on the setting here, both physically and spiritually. At its very core, this is a story about a fire, a sacred flame gnat, and this is incredible, never ever goes out. You see, Varanasi, or Kashi as it's also known, is a city built on pure faith. And Manikarnika isn't just any old cot, which are those riverside steps you see. Oh no, it's what's known as a Mahashmashan, a great cremation ground. People say that to truly understand the nature of life and death, you have to see what happens right here. And to really wrap your head around the scale of this, just look at this number. Every single day, more than 300 bodies are brought here for their final rites. That works out to a funeral roughly every 5 minutes, 24/7. The air is always thick with smoke and the sound of chants. It's this visceral, nonstop reminder of life's final journey. So, what's the big deal about this spot? Why here? It all boils down to one incredibly powerful belief: Moksha. In Hindi spirituality, this is the ultimate prize: freedom from samsara, that endless, often painful cycle of birth, death, and reincarnation. And the belief is that being cremated right here at Manikarnika Ghat is a direct ticket to that freedom. But the power of this place isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. It's actually rooted deep in mythology. To understand the name and that eternal fire, we've got to look at the divine stories that started the whole thing. So, yeah, those are the big questions, right? Why the name Manikarnika? And how is it possible that these fires just never, ever go out? Well, the answers? You won't find them in history books. You find them in ancient legends.
And believe it or not, this one story pretty much explains everything. As the legend goes, the goddess Parvati, who is Lord Shiva's wife, was bathing here when she lost a really precious jeweled earring, a mani, in a sacred pool. When they couldn't find it, her frustration boiled over into this powerful curse that this place would burn for all eternity. And just like that, from that divine anger, the ghat gets its name, Mani Karnika, or jewel earring, and its unquenchable fire. And that's not even the only story. There's another divine layer here. A different legend says that Lord Vishnu himself meditated at this spot for thousands of years to please Lord Shiva, and in doing so, created the sacred pool, or Kund. So you've got this dual origin involving three of Hinduism's most powerful gods, which just skyrockets the spiritual importance of this place.
Okay, so up to now, we've got this picture of a very solemn, very intense place of last rites. But this is where the story of Manikarnika just flips completely on its head. It takes a turn that is so unexpected, it's almost hard to believe. Seriously, get ready for this. I mean, it just sounds impossible, doesn't it? A contradiction in terms. But here, at Manikarnika, the line between grief and joy, between an ending and a beginning, it gets blurred in the most dramatic way you can imagine.
The answer is, incredibly, yes. Once a year, during the Chaitra Navratri festival, the air doesn't just fill with smoke, it fills with music and the rhythm of dancing. It's called the Shmashan Nath Festival, the festival of the Lord of the Cremation Ground, and it happens right here, right in the middle of all the burning pyres.
But here's the real kicker. It's who does the dancing that makes this tradition so mind-blowing. The story goes that a king, Rajaman Singh, wanted to hold a festival here, but no mainstream performers would agree to do it in a cremation ground. So he invited the Nagarvadhus, the city's courtesans and sex workers, and they said yes. By dancing all night among the flames, they make this incredibly powerful statement that death isn't something to be sad about, but an auspicious, joyful moment of liberation.
Now, while this festival celebrates the fire, it's really important to know that not everyone actually receives this right. There are some key exceptions. The bodies of very small children, pregnant women, people who died from a snakebite, and sadhus, the holy men, they aren't cremated. They're considered inherently pure, so instead, their bodies are wrapped and committed directly into the sacred waters of the Ganga. Okay, so we've touched on the spiritual and the mythical, but now let's get down to earth. Because, as it turns out, liberation, well, it comes with a price tag. There's a very real-world economy at play here. You see, the entire operation, the sacred fire itself, is in the hands of one single community, the Dom. For literally thousands of years, this has been their job, passed down from generation to generation. And even though they were historically seen as a lower caste, here they have immense power. They say that without the fire from the Dome Raja, the head of the community, no soul can reach Moksha. That gives them an absolutely essential role in this whole sacred economy. And the fuel for this never-ending flame? Well, it costs an absolutely mind-boggling amount of money. The source we're looking at estimates that wood worth up to 1.5 million rupees, we're talking around 20,000 US dollars, is burned here every single day. It is a massive, nonstop operation. And this is where things get complicated. Let's call this the unspoken menu of moksha. The cost of a cremation here isn't a flat fee. If a family has money and wants things to move faster, or they want to use expensive sandalwood, or maybe get a spot that's considered more auspicious, the price goes up. It seems the path to liberation isn't always created equal. And this, of course, creates a heartbreaking reality for people who just don't have the resources. Our source points out that for poor families, the cost can be totally out of reach. And this can lead to the tragedy of an incomplete cremation, where they just can't afford enough wood and a body is left only partially burned before it has to be put into the river. So, where does that leave us? With all the myths, the dancing, the fire, the money, what's the real takeaway here? Well, in this last part, we'll see that the true lesson of Manikarnika is found in the ashes. When you boil it all down, the real lesson of the Ghat is this. The fires here consume so much more than just bodies. When you're faced with this constant, undeniable finality, where everyone ends up the same, all the things we hold on to so tightly in life, our ego, our status, our pride, they all just turn to ash. People say that just being there, even as an observer, completely changes you. You might show up expecting to see death, but you leave thinking about life. By watching the end of so many different stories, you're pretty much forced to reflect on your own and to really appreciate the incredible value of every single breath you have left. And so that leaves us, it leaves you with a really powerful question to think about. In the end, when all the stuff you value, your pride, your possessions, your ego, when it all burns away, what's the essential part of you that's left? It's the question that Manikarnika asks everyone every single day. And the answer, as this glaze seems to teach, isn't out there in the ashes, but somewhere deep inside ourselves. Thanks for tuning in.